Welcome everyone to another edition of the Tech Town Hall. My name is William Golde, Global Head of Sales with PTZOptics. Now today we are going to be talking all things software with the release of the new Move 4K, Link 4K, Studio Pro, and other cameras. We have also released some very cool back-end softwares. Now today we're going to be bringing in Geoffery Robinson, the head of product development at PTZOptics. He's actually in the lab at HQ. We're going to get a little bit behind the scenes of what's going on in the background on all those new softwares coming out on PTZOptics. We'll be bringing those gentlemen in here in a minute. And welcome back to the studio. This is the Tech Town Hall with William Golde. I am the Global Head of Sales here at PTZOptics. And in the studio today, as always, we have Stephen Heywood coming in remotely, doing all of our remote production. There he is. How we doing?
Doing well.
And we, as well, we got Geoffery Robinson coming in from the product lab at HQ. Jeff, how we doing, my man?
Doing good, Will.
Excellent, excellent. Now, today we get to talk about all things software. Now this is everything that's happening in the background of the cameras. So the Move 4K, the Link 4K, they were just launched and announced. They are coming with auto tracking built into the camera. So we're going to deal a little bit, talk about that in a minute. We're also releasing, I believe soon, the CMP or camera management platform. So let's jump into the camera management platform and the web UI first. Jeff, can you just give us a quick overview? What is the CMP? Why did we develop it? Where is it coming from? And just the methodology behind it. And also, when is it expected to come out? Because it's in beta right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure. All right. What is it? The CMP is our camera management platform. We created it. Basically, it was built from some internal tools that we were using in the product team. Internally, and we really felt like, hey, why not start exposing these tools to our users? We were using them a lot, so it's basically a way for you to manage all the cameras on your network. It's a way for you to drive the cameras around. It's a way for you to calibrate all of your cameras for color. It's a way to learn about the APIs or application programming interfaces for the camera. And it's also how you can do auto tracking with your PTZOptics camera, the ones before the Move, what we call the Generation 2 cameras. So it brings a lot of different tools for just managing your cameras, trying to make your life easier.
Perfect, love it. And one of actually the coolest features that I think it has, and I don't know if you just mentioned that, you can batch color correct, if I'm not mistaken. Basically what that means is you can take, I think it's 4 cameras, and you can actually set different color points, white points, black points, and white balances. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest challenges when you bring a lot of cameras into your facility, when you've got like 3-4 cameras, is not just knowing where they are, how to reach them by IP, how to do things, but how do you get them actually balanced to each other? With digital cameras, white balance is a challenge because you have to find the white point depending on the lights in your room, and how to make that white point consistent from camera to camera is a bigger challenge. So yeah, the CMP will allow you to see up to 4 cameras at a time. It will allow you to place color markers on the active video, so you can get active RGB pixel-specific values. And then you can actually take the settings from one camera that you really like, how the colors are balanced, and you can upload those to your other cameras. So you don't have to go and adjust every setting on every camera. You can get one camera right, and you can upload those settings to every other camera.
Wow, that's awesome. I know, just again from my film background, having to white balance a digital camera every single time you set up a new set, it's a nightmare. And then having to do it with multiple cameras and trying to get them to match is even more of a nightmare. So the CMP really does solve for those kind of headaches in production, if you will. And so briefly, just to talk about auto tracking, because you did mention it, now all G2 cameras on the PTZOptics line are actually going to have the ability to become an auto tracking camera via the CMP. Talk to me a little bit about that. How does that work?
Sure. So yes, the all of our G2 cameras now work with the CMP for auto tracking. So the way that works, and maybe Stephen, if you could bring up the CMP, it'd be helpful to just get a little visual aid as I talk through it. So we have I think a G2 camera here, and we can float over the preview window on that G2 camera on the left-hand side, that one, and we can hit auto tracking. All right, so this is the auto tracking screen. So what you have here is you have a tracking zone, which is in the green overlay, and you have your tracking point of focus, which is in the red zone. All you really have to do is start tracking. There's a little toggle that we can't actually see on the screen, but that will allow you to start. And what it's going to do is now we can see it. But anyway, so this is going to allow you to basically follow a person, probably not a camera. So it should be trying to track. What it's going to do is going to look for a full body, a head and shoulders, or a face. And it does that algorithmically. So in other ways, it just logically tries to follow the rules that we've set for it to actually follow a person around. Right now, I don't know if it thinks that camera is a face. I don't think so. Yeah, if we had it more zoomed out, we probably could show off the tracking.
All right, let me see if I can zoom it out a bit. See, it was trying to grab me as I walked away. All right.
And we're doing it live.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna move this up there.
Yeah, so that red box is going to just basically determine where in the scene the camera is going to recognize you. And you can even see that we have a little bit of a debug mode, so we can see the points. And these are actually the points that the engine is understanding Stephen to be in. Now, I should probably talk about the elephant in the room right now is the choppy video. Now, this is actually purposeful, so we don't want to steal your primary stream, which you want to send on to production. So we created a pseudo stream through the camera's snapshot functions, which basically takes a picture every so often, and we've turned that into a video stream that's very low latency. You can see, and now you can see that this is the camera, I assume, that is now tracking Stephen. You don't see the overlay, you don't see the tracking box, and that's the really cool thing about this snapshot stream is we basically created an alternative video stream in the camera so that you can continue using that high quality stream in your production system.
Wow, that is awesome. So yeah, I mean, that means anyone out there that actually has a G2 camera who's talking about auto tracking and baking that into your functionality, whether it's in a production environment or in a UC VC environment, when the CMP is released, that means you'll have access to all this functionality. It's going to be free to download, correct?
Yeah, and I've heard you ask me about the release a couple times, and I've stayed silent, but not. It's really I just keep forgetting to answer you. But yeah, so we are aiming to release this to the public as a beta next month in April. We've been testing it as a private beta for about 6 months now. Testing is going very well. We've had many iterations. I think we have over 400 beta testers at this point. And yeah, so we've been really trying to make sure it works in a variety of environments. We've seen a lot of cool videos coming back of people using it in a variety of tracking scenarios. So it's been really cool to watch the software evolve, and we're really excited to be releasing it to the public next month.
Perfect. I love it. That is going to be an awesome tool for us, and an awesome tool for anyone that's been using PTZOptics products. And it's just a great value add moving forward. I know my sales guys cannot wait to have that launched because it's just going to make our life so much easier. And we love selling cool product, and it's another one of those just very, very cool things that we have to offer in PTZOptics. Now, when we're talking about the CMP, we got to talk about the web UI too. Not only are we launching that very awesome camera management platform, we've also gone ahead and reskinned the entire web UI for all PTZOptics cameras as well. Jeff, you want to just give us a brief overview of some of the changes? And Stephen, I don't know if you have the ability to pull that up live.
There it is.
Look at that. You're way ahead of me. My guy. That's why we pay you the moderate dollars, baby. So yeah, just give us a little bit of an overview. What changed from the old one? What's some of the highlights? Obviously, it's got a new look, which is pretty cool. But yeah, just run us down.
Yeah, so yeah, this is the new web interface. You can see the live video stream is capturing Stephen pretty much in real time. We spent a lot of time trying to get that live stream perfected. Our G2 cameras had a stream that only worked in IE Explorer and a couple other things. So what we're looking at is the camera settings page. I like to call this the cockpit. This exposes all the controls for my camera right in front of me. It allows me to drive the camera around. Call presets over on the right, set presets, open and close my OSD menu, and then set all my camera settings over in this bottom left part. So we have our settings divided into speed, image, and control. These are all the parameters that you would traditionally find in the on-screen display menu of the camera. One of the goals in designing the web interface was we didn't ever want you to have to open the on-screen display menu of the camera ever again. We didn't want to take it away because there's certain people that's the way they interface with cameras, and that's fine. But yeah, we wanted to make sure that if you were new to cameras or if you were an experienced user, you could come to the web interface and have a very usable platform. One other thing I'd mention is we have these little eye symbols next to most of the settings, like over on auto tracking. You see this eye, and this is actually going to tell you exactly what's going on with this setting. So we've tried to create what we call the tutorial mode, and this will basically give you a helper box for what every setting on your camera actually does. A lot of these things traditionally you have to Google if you don't really understand live streaming or cameras, and some people come to this with a big camera background but maybe not an IP background. Vice versa, we also have it, so we've tried to basically create tooltips for every setting on the camera. Now you can turn those off and disable them if you don't like them, but we do try and put them on by default just so you have them, so you can get to know all the settings on your camera.
And Jeff, I'd like to point out too, one of my favorite features in this back end is the profiles. To be able to add or take away a profile based on the settings that you want to save. As you can see, I have my two down here. I have one that's for like a super, well, we'll call it a green screen. I have exuberant light on for for a green screen. So we have that as Steve, and then Steve Final is the one that I use for my normal shows. But then I also export that out so you can, even get it as a starting point from one of the other cameras, right?
Yeah, the profiles was another big initiative that we pushed for with the Move 4K and the Link 4K cameras. As Stephen's showing you all the things you can do with the profile, so not only saving settings and being able to dynamically change the type of settings that are loaded to your camera, you can have up to 3 of these in your sidebar. You can have unlimited ones that you save to your computer, and you can re-upload to the camera. The other thing this allows you to do is completely change the look and feel of the web interface. So say you want to brand the web interface for your company. Well, we have a dark mode, a light mode, and then a completely custom CSS mode. So we allow you really to define how that camera really fits in for your environment, make it your camera. So yeah, it's the profiles has been another really, really cool thing that we've been able to add to the web interface to try and make the camera more usable.
And even firmware updates, a lot easier now. You can come in and be able to update your firmware. It'll check for you right here.
Yes, so we traditionally on our G2 cameras had a upgrade tool. We haven't taken away. Again, we want to allow people to use the routes that they use to set up and configure their cameras, and if that's the way they like it, we're not going to take it away. So yeah, but now you can basically push a button, have it look for firmware. If there is firmware, it's going to allow you to download it as well as a changelog, and then you can upload that firmware directly to the camera through that firmware upload dialog.
Yeah, for broadcast, I mean that's huge. It saves so much time, especially with having, if you do a firmware update right before a show, which I don't advise, but it happens sometimes. Not saying I've done it, maybe once or twice, but it gives you that flexibility that you can at least get your camera back to right where it's at, because maybe there's a brand new feature, Jeff, that you threw out that I'm like, yes, I want to use it on the show tonight. And so I can be back up and running in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm thank you for the feedback. It's good to hear that people actually do find it usable and more efficient. So that's really the goal, because we want you to be buying more cameras as a user. We don't want you to just have one in the system. We want you to have a bunch on your network. But we got to give you the tools so that you can actually manage those cameras, from firmware upgrades to color settings to just finding the thing on the network. So yeah, that's the beauty of software, is it allows us to bring a lot of these solutions easily. And again, I think we mentioned, but the CMP is free. There's no charge for that or the web interface. So yeah, just trying to make the camera easier to use.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think one of the cool parts, and it's actually been pretty consistent in our product development throughout the years, is we really look out into the marketplace, our partners. We have such a great channel that we've built over the years, and we get feedback from them. And that's what kind of these two pieces of this puzzle are, is pretty much feedback that we've gotten over the years from our clients, from our partners, from basically everyone we do business with, which is awesome. Basically, we hear what people want, and then Jeff goes and makes it because he's awesome. So it's pretty cool. But with that, kind of one of the things I did want to talk about and touch on, I mean, obviously we have these two tools, the web UI and the CMP. That's just going to make everyone's life so much easier. But we did want to talk about all the other like third-party integrations. Now, Jeff, when you're dealing with other pieces of software out there, be it MIDI control, Dante AVH, that's going to be coming out on the link, NDI, or even some of our auto tracking functionalities and those APIs that we deal with. What is kind of the workflow for you? What makes you want to identify something and then build it into the cameras? And then is there anything cool coming out third-party integration-wise that you can think of?
Sure. So as you said, the feedback from customers from the channel is really valuable. You can't develop in a vacuum. There's a lot of cool things that I might think are really neat, but have absolutely no market potential and very little use to the customer. So it's a balance of doing the cool technology thing, but also providing value to the end user that they can realize. So yeah, you can't develop in a vacuum. You got to listen to what the customers are asking for. As far as APIs, that's been a big push of ours, is to really get the documentation for our APIs a little better out there, as far as just making sure we're documenting all of the commands in the cameras. We're rounding out where we may have deficiencies on one side or the other, because if we want people to develop for our cameras, we need to, just like we're making using the web interface and the CMP to make the user experience better, we also have to focus on the developer experience and trying to make it so you're not sort of having to go around a lot of routes just to do some basic things on the camera through your software. Because if you're going to have to go around a lot of routes, you might look to another camera manufacturer that makes that route a lot easier. So yeah, user experience, developer experience are both important. As far as third parties, we have been exploring a variety of things. One thing I'm actively looking at is integrating the camera with different beamforming microphones out there for switching and tracking. So there's a lot of microphones out there that now deliver 3D positional data, or at least a vector that tells you where the person is speaking from in relation to a microphone. And so there's been a lot of requests, again, not developing in a vacuum, from the channel, from customers. Hey, could your cameras, ingest that information, that 3D positional information, and actually either move the camera or switch the camera based on it? And so that's something we are actively exploring right now as a direct integration on the camera. Don't have any ETA and don't really want to talk about who we're developing with, but it's something we are trying to actively push forward and see if we can sort of hit all the big players in the marketplace.
So I have a quick question from the broadcast standpoint. with some of the new software and stuff that's coming out, like the CMP. Let's say I have multiple cameras from different manufacturers just because, you know, I've accumulated them over the years. Can I use the CMP with other manufacturer cameras, or is there limitations to that?
Yeah, so there was we had a lot of sort of discussions on how we were going to release the CMP, whether it was going to be a paid for product or whether it was going to be a free product, and what kind of cameras we were going to support. So that sort of was something that went back and forth, and our sort of decision from a business and a technology perspective was to release the thing for free. But as part of that free release was to lock the CMP down for PTZOptics cameras.
Okay.
That's not to say that in the future we don't consider perhaps some way to bring in other cameras through a paid module. But we thought that since we are trying to make this a value add to our cameras, that we would basically lock down these features to our cameras.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there's others that were going to be asking that, right, Will?
Oh yeah, that's going to be probably like the second or third question I get on the CMP.
Yep.
Because they're going to say, "Is it free? It's free, really? Okay, can I use it for my Sony or Panasonic or any other company out there?" I'm not going to have to say, unfortunately not. But I mean, we do integrate with a couple other third-party cameras, right? Like we use the Superjoy, for example, which has been out for a little bit of time now. Does have the ability to work with some other third-party cameras out there. You know, we don't want to be totally shut down to this idea of, you know, if it's PTZOptics, it's got to be PTZOptics. You know, we do want to make, again, that end user experience a little bit easier. So we do develop for that. And also there's some custom coding that you can do to the Superjoy as well. I know with the auto tracking stuff, I have set up my Superjoy to have the custom button to turn on and off auto tracking. So yeah, they're all these products and all these complexities are starting to come together in our product line, which is super, super cool. So yeah, that about wraps up my question. Steven, you got anything for Jeff while we have the brains of the operation on the TPH?
I have one question based upon the auto tracking of the G2, because I know the question's I think I know the answer to it, but I'm still going to ask it anyways. With the software control, because it is software controlled tracking, can I do, like you saw, I have multiple cameras here in the studio. Can I do software tracking with more than one G2 at a time, or is it just locked to one at a time through the software?
Yeah, so I guess we could just, if you want to bring up the CMP, I could just show you how to do that.
Awesome. Let me see if I can't bring you in there. There you go.
All right, so at the bottom left of your screen is the ability to open up multiple windows. So right now we're in the single view. We can look at a dual view or a quad view. So what you could do is take another G2 PTZ camera and just drag the thumbnail over to another quadrant.
All right, let me see if I can grab. Let's try this one.
Yeah, so you got the one above you selected, I think.
Oh yeah. Hang on. Let me grab, because that one's. I'm trying to remember which one's which. Let's grab one of these.
You could just select the auto tracking too.
Okay. So you can do it to multiple ones here. You just pull it up and is there a limit on how many you can do? I mean, right now I see quadrants for like 3, 2, 1, and 4. Is that the limitation for it? Just 4?
Currently, 4 simultaneous cameras is the limitation. We may test more as we do more cameras. We up PC requirements and stuff like that. So
sure.
I always trying to find a decent trade-off is a big thing. We wanted to try and keep it compatible with a lot of different computers. But yeah, so you can right now have up to 4. You can minimize it to your system tray, so you don't even have to have it viewable on the desktop, and it'll keep tracking 4 cameras.
Yeah, and I think I'm running it on a machine that I probably shouldn't run it on. I'm running it on an older MacBook, so probably
you're
at
the low end of the recommended requirements that I've been putting together. But
yeah,
no, it's working well. So yeah, so we're very happy with where it is, and yeah, we're very excited to release it out to the general public.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that
that's
thing
all I
is going
got.
to be so cool. I can't wait for that CMP to hit the marketplace. Jeff, I guess same question. So you for the CMP, can you only manage 4 cameras simultaneously for things like color correction and other functionalities? Is it just limited to the 4 right now?
Yeah, right now I mean, you can always switch which 4 are there. You can have I haven't hit a limit on the left-hand sidebar yet. We have quite a few cameras, as you can see back there over my shoulder. But yeah, for the live view right now, we have a limit of 4. And as you start making more cameras, you're starting to work in a smaller space unless your monitor gets a lot bigger. So yeah, it's not something we can't look at in the future.
Got it. I mean, like you said, if you're not limited on that left sidebar in terms of like inputs that you can add, then you could color correct for 4, leave one of those 4 in there, and then add 3 more cameras and on down the line. That's going to be easier than going camera by camera by camera by camera and then going into that OSD with a remote or whatever it was. So yeah, even if it's limited to 4, that's 4 more than you had before. And most systems probably don't look like what you got in the lab and then what Steven has in his bunker over there. So
well, I've definitely heard some
pretty
big
all right.
installs. Yeah, there's some big installs out there that it's going to dwarf what we got going on in the lab. But yeah, and as I said to Steven earlier, you can save all the settings from one camera, and you can actually then have those settings available in a drop-down menu that you can then load to every camera. So even if you just correct the one, you're then going to have those settings saved that you could apply to every camera on your network.
That's really cool. Yep, there we got all 4 in there. I found the G2s because I have some huddle cams in there too. So sorry about that, Jeff.
Oh, no worries.
But I got them pulled up there.
Yeah,
so
we're doing it live.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the best way, so people can see like it actually works, right?
Yeah, yeah. We don't release product that doesn't work, and that's why a lot of these things take time. It's even, I mean, it's probably one of the reasons we took a little bit of time to get to 4K. We just wanted to, release something that is truly market viable. And I know people throw around future proof all the time, but in the conversations that we're having with everyone, that everyone's still even on the precipice of getting to a full 4K infrastructure anyway. So, we're setting ourselves up for the long haul here, which I think is pretty cool. So right before I let you go, Jeff, anything we haven't talked about or anything you want to mention coming up? I know you kind of alluded to some we're developing with people we might not want to talk about, so more to come on that. But anything else you want to mention that we haven't talked about?
8K cameras? I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
I mean, we're always developing stuff. There's going to be hopefully in the next few months some cool additions. You guys were talking about scripting the SuperJoy. I don't want to advertise that before I have some of those features tested and verified, but potentially another camera manufacturer brand that is a larger name to be compatible, as well as some really cool stuff on the custom scripting side, which is available on the SuperJoy. So yeah, some very cool stuff coming down the line.
Nice. There's a shot of that SuperJoy right there. And
yeah.
By the way, I from a sales perspective, all I can say is thanks for making cool products for us to take to the marketplace, because we get asked so many different projects and installs and can we do this, can we do that, and it's really cool to most often than not say, yeah, we can figure that out. So I gotta say thank you from me and the rest of the sales team for doing it.
Honestly,
and thanks for hopping on today.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to do it.
And honestly, with the SuperJoy, like I've had it where I couldn't use it the one production, and I felt lost without it. Like it's gotten to be like my right hand man when controlling all these cameras, because it's like I don't want to deal with the software inside of switchers. I want to just hit the button, move it, and I can see it on my monitor, and I'm good to go. Like this thing toggling on tracking and stuff, it's a producer's dream. It really is. And I've used.
Well, if you guys keep talking like this, you're going to have me come on every month. So
hey, perfect. We're just going to switch this over to the Jeff Hour every Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
Friday. Hey man, I would watch that for sure. So yeah, I guess with that, we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks again to Jeff for joining us on the Tech Town Hall this week. As always, thanks to our producer, Steven, doing a bang-up job all the way from his bunker and who knows where in an undisclosed location somewhere, maybe in America. But anyway, with that, thanks again to everyone for joining us and watching us. If you always, and well, I should say always and forever, and we always say this, but to reiterate, if you have any questions, by all means, toss them in the comments section down below, or just reach out to us directly. You can hit my team at partners@PTZOptics.com or at HuddleCamHD.com, depending on which line you want to ask questions about. Again, my name is William Golde, here with the Tech Town Hall, brought to you by PTZOptics YouTube channel. If you want more great information like this, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to smash that bell, as they say, because we are starting to produce more and more content every month for you guys out there in the real world with all the new products that we are launching. And so being in touch and paying attention is always helpful for you. It's helpful for us as well to get some feedback. So by all means, do that. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you again next month.